For the better part of the last year, we've been inundated with national politics. First, it was like 10 months of campaigning and all the presidential stuff. And then we had the election. And then it's been like 2 months of all the stuff after the election, lots and lots of drama. But it's indicative of something that's going on in the nation in recent years. When we keep up with news, when we watch news, we have so many choices of news networks now, so many cable things, so many online. But the deal is they all focus on national news. So it's 24/7, 365 of on-demand or cable or whatever it is, and it's national news. We hear so little about what happens around us. And as a result, we get focused on what happens at the national level, and because we do, we often feel paralyzed when something happens. What happened in this last election, there were a whole lot of conservatives who said, yeah, there's going to be all this fraud shown, and it didn't turn out that way. And so you go, what do we do now? I can't contact the Supreme Court and say, why didn't you guys pick up one of the cases? I can't contact Congress and say, hey, you guys need to do something. I can't contact the president. There's nothing I can do. And this is part of the problem we have with national news. We're so inundated with it, and it's fun to watch. It's all professionally done, and they got lots of graphics and good guests. But it takes our focus away from local things. And if I can take you back to the American War for Independence, it's interesting that if you take the first 4 battles of the American War for Independence, the Battle of Lexington, the Battle of North Bridge at Concord, followed by the Road to Boston, followed by the Battle of Bunker Hill, it's interesting that in those battles, nobody contacted the national commander-in-chief and said, George, we need your help down here right now. We're getting attacked by the British and we need you here. In each case, it was the community said, we don't need outside help. We're fine. This is our community. We'll take care of it. So with the Battle of Lexington, it was the Reverend Jonas Clark who had 70 men from his church who went out to defend the town from the British. A few hours later, when the British made it over to Concord, it was Reverend William Emerson who had 300 guys from his church and congregation out there defending the town. And as the Road to Boston battle occurred, as the British are leaving Concord and they're going back to Boston, about a 19-mile march, all along the way were all these local congregations that were showing up saying, no, you're not going to do this in our community. And then you get to the Battle of Bunker Hill there at Boston, and you had people like the Reverend Joseph Willard who takes 2 companies out of his church and says, hey, you guys go across town, let's take care of this. Everybody was thinking about taking care of their own community. So it wasn't like we were looking for national help or we were doing national things. And this is one of the interesting things about the American War for Independence. We won a national fight, but we weren't thinking nationally. We were winning all the local battles. And when you win all the local battles, that's how you win the national battle. So you go down to South Carolina and win Kings Mountain and win Cowpens, and you just go to all these other battles and skirmishes. And so often it was local people coming in. Now occasionally you had national battles. You had the Battle of Monmouth and Brandywine and other things where George Washington had the Continental Army there. But so many of the other battles were local battles. And if we had not won the local battles, we would not win the national battle. And so we really need to back up from what we are with this national focus of media and say, what do I see going in my own community? There's so much that needs to be looked at right now. I mean, from the standpoint of even just recently, we were contacted by a state representative, and in their state, they look at history standards every 10 years, and the new history standards coming out in their state, the people are proposing that they remove from history any mention of the American Revolution, of the Civil War, of World War I, of World War II, and the Holocaust. Wait a minute. The state wants to take all of that out of American history? Yeah, which means it's coming to a school near you if you're in that state, which means you got to get involved in those local battles. And there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh, this is part of the 1619 curriculum. This is good stuff. This is what we want. No, it's not. Which means you need to be on a local school board, or you need to find someone to run for a local school board, or you need to be part of a city council, because with the new administration, what you'll find is there's going to be a lot of mandates coming from Washington, D.C. down to all the states and communities about this is what we want done in your schools, and this is the kind of regulations we want you to impose on the community. There's going to be all sorts of local battles because it's coming from national down. We're going to have to win the local battles. So I would urge you, now that we're through all the national noise that's there, start looking around and finding the battles that are going on around you. There's so many that are going on in the city. There's so many that are going on with various regulations. There's going to be a whole lot that go on in education. And you need to start thinking now about building a farm team for the future. And you do that by finding really good, solid, conservative, Constitution-loving, moral value people to get on the school board. and to get on the city council and to get on the public utility districts or whatever it is. We've got to get involved at that level. That's really what makes the difference. That's what made the difference in all the wars that we won here with the American War for Independence. That's what made the difference in the Great Awakenings. Even though we call that a national revival, it was really a whole bunch of local revivals that changed the nation. So we need to look locally, and that's the best thing we can do right now.